What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Two Fools. How's it going, Faf?
It's going well. Apparently, a lot of things just happened
Yeah, a lot of things
in
did just
very
happen.
quick succession.
Yeah. We got a new BNC, which is pretty exciting. So that's what we'll be covering today, is talking about the new things that are coming up, especially the 6th anniversary, because there's honestly a lot of hype surrounding it. A lot of things that are going to be coming, a lot of quality of life, cool stuff, Omni-Tillith, all sorts of stuff that we'll be covering.
Oh,
So
Omnitillith is definitely the most important part. What are you talking about?
absolutely. Omni-Tillith is the highlight of the 6th anniversary. So, do you want to start with talking about Omni-Tillith, or do you want to start somewhere else?
We can start with talking about Omnitillith.
Let's do it. I know that you were talking
So,
about some of the analysis that you did of her leader skill XP wise and things like that, so maybe we could talk about that as well. Pretty cool.
okay. So, as it stands, with her leader skill and extra skill combined, she gives 35% experience boost, which
With the
is
SP
only
increase,
5% lower than Bjorn and makes her the second best experience leader in the game.
which is pretty exciting because she's, for all intents and purposes, a free unit.
Oh, she's free.
Yeah.
She's 60 cost.
Mm-hmm.
I swear, like, in some ways, pretty much matches Qtong beat for beat.
Absolutely.
And in some ways, I mean, she occasionally becomes better.
I,
It's weird. I'd
mm,
say that she, for anyone who is either new or getting into the game, or even people who are very far into the game,
mm-hmm,
Tillith is amazing. I cannot believe this is a free unit.
mm-hmm.
I cannot believe that they made this something that you get for clearing the normal dungeon.
Very exciting.
And I'd be interested to see how hard apparently it's called Barragan. I've never played Brave Frontier 2.
Mm-hmm.
Barragan easy mode is, because you don't need to beat hard mode to get Tillith. You only need to beat easy mode.
Yeah.
So this is just something that if it's like 25 energy and the only thing is that like it just falls apart if you have like one Omni, then
Mm-hmm.
Tillith is going to be a huge help to everyone.
Yeah.
Do you know that she's a mitigator too?
Yeah, on SP, right? You can add 3-turn mitigation.
Yep, she's
She's
3-turn
pretty
mitigator.
unbelievable. I'm
She's got
really, really hyped
massive
for
damage
this.
reduction. The only thing that she's missing from her 7-star incarnation, if I remember correctly,
Mhm.
is that she no longer has the instant Fujin effect
Yeah,
that her 7-star version did. But you know what? She gives so much stuff
yeah.
that I'm willing to forgive it for it.
Pretty phenomenal unit, in my opinion. And I'm really excited for this because, I mean, first of all, who isn't excited for Omni-Tillith? We've wanted this for ages and we're finally getting it. And on top of that, completely free unit and a really, really good free unit. And I'm hoping that even if it's just, this happens on anniversaries, I'm really hoping that this sets a precedent for very solid free-to-play units that free-to-play players have been calling for a long time. Because, I mean, the last free-to-play experience lead, well, does Hishka lead
Hishka
experience or just
counts.
extra skill?
Hishka boosts everything.
Okay.
Leader
Um,
skill boosts just regular experience, but
okay, yeah.
his extra skill boost buff.
Right, yeah. So, I mean, having this as an upgrade is going to be really cool because then, new players can just kind of pop in, get Tillith, and then make their way through the rest of the story with an experience lead that is really, really solid, not having to wait for like a unit of choice with Bjorn or something like that. So, this is very exciting to me.
Okay, and I'm also just going to add this on here. If you are watching this right now and you know the Omnitillith is coming, and you are currently using a Zelnite, Shion, Roglizer, I forget what other experience
All
leads
Might.
there are at that, All Might, if you're using any of those leads, tomorrow tomorrow morning you have no excuse to be still running those leads anymore.
No
Tillith is
excuse.
better than them in every single way.
Mm-hmm. She is going to fill in an essential piece for free to play light, and really even pay to play players could sub her in for Qtong if they were really feeling like using Tillith, which I think is really cool.
The fact that I genuinely am still debating whether or not that I should use her over Qtong.
Hmm.
Over Qtong
Yeah,
is a testament to how strong she is.
excellent unit. That UBB is solid. That the sphere, her sphere is something that we should talk about as well because it's a pretty solid sphere as well and adds some useful stuff into her extra skill.
Isn't it 60% all stats,
Hmm.
10% damage reduction, and then a free mini Daltisk effect?
Essentially, yeah. And then when used on Tillith, she gains essentially the Qtong extra skill part that reduces BB gauge required for all allies by 10%.
Yep.
So it's
Yeah.
really quite exciting that this is a free to play unit. And I feel like now that we've talked about Tillith and her sphere, we should talk about her DBB counterpart, who is a summon unit right now.
I'm going to briefly make a tangent to go back to the sphere. I
Mm.
feel like Iridescent Hope,
Mm-hmm.
while it's great,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if many players are going to use it on Tillith
Mm-hmm.
outside of something like Coliseum.
Yeah.
Because, like, oh, I don't know how to explain this. I mean, I guess there's no detriment to using Iridescent Hope, but
But there's something better that you could slot there for sure.
yeah, well,
Mm-hmm.
in late in game anyway,
Yeah.
for most of the game, Iridescent Hope is going to be
Mm-hmm.
fine.
However, if you're using her in Colo, Iridescent Hope is viable.
Oh, Iridescent Hope is totally viable in
Mm-hmm.
Colo. Iridescent Hope is probably going to be
Mm-hmm.
plaguing Colo's meta for a while because it's a
Absolutely.
stat sphere of 10% damage reduction.
Pretty damn solid. So, moving on from there, I feel like it would be good to talk about Noelle, her DBB counterpart, who is currently in the Summon Gates.
Yes. So Noel is notable. He is a support unit for Dark. He has their first BB cost reduction leader skill since Roglizer way
Solid.
back when. He is currently suffering from the lack of ability for Dark to slot him
Mm-hmm.
because in order to like the person that Noel really wants to kick off Dark teams is Zareth, but
Mm-hmm.
Zareth has BB on Spark, and Dark has a notoriously difficult time with getting BB on Spark on
Mm-hmm.
itself.
If we could
So
see some kind of useful BB on Spark unit, that would be great. And I mean, I really like Noel. I think he looks great. I think he functions really well. I just really and truly, I say this every time a new Dark unit comes out. I wish they had put Spark damage on his leader skill.
I think that Set will solve that.
I really
I
hope
am
so.
hoping that Set solves
Set
that.
needs to either solve Dark's BB on Spark crisis, it needs to solve the leader skill crisis, or it needs to solve the UBB crisis because there's a lot that Dark is lacking. And I actually left a comment about this on the BNC, and I'm really hoping that either Set or possibly a new Insignia unit would mean something good for Dark.
I'm hoping that the new Insignia unit is Apophis and that they don't make Apophis a summon unit
Mm-hmm.
because that would make sense.
Yeah,
Then
I
maybe that's asking too much.
yeah.
But for here's what I'm hoping for from Set.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping that for a leader skill that has at least Spark and Elemental Weakness damage, even
Mm-hmm.
if I have to get one of those from SP, I'm okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping for a kit that gives spark damage and BB on spark,
Mm-hmm.
and everything else is pretty much null. I don't
Yeah.
really care what the rest of it is. Dark can cover it.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the two buffs that Dark really struggles to get
Mm-hmm.
unless you're like
Absolutely.
running Acnos out the ass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And
it's tough.
I'm hoping that the UBB, if they just take Thoth's UBB as it stands right
God,
now
please.
and just cloned it onto Set, she would be perfect. I don't
Mm-hmm.
care if I have to slot Moth on her to make her do the thing. I have to do that with Thoth anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I would be okay with doing that for Set.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really hoping that we can see Set be a game changer for Dark. Um,
Because God knows it needs one.
absolutely. So next, I feel like we should just go down the list for how it was announced in order for the BNC. I know we deviated a little bit, but that's not a big deal. Um,
If anyone in the chat has played Brave Frontier 2 and could give us some insight into how Barrigan fights in Brave Frontier
mhm.
2 so that we can like give some context as to how he works there as to how he might work here,
That would be
because
good to know.
otherwise we don't know yet because we're
Mhm.
releasing this the day before the dungeon,
Yep.
but that would be appreciated.
Yeah, definitely. So if anyone knows that, drop it in the Twitch stream and we'll let the folks listening on YouTube know. So,
All right.
and we can hop back to that if somebody responds, but I feel like next we can talk about, just in order, the pre-anniversary daily free summon, which sounds pretty generic because they do this a lot with the free summons and it just kind of pops out a generic 7-star. Every once in a while it could be something good. But this time it is a little bit different, and I am a fan of how it looks.
So I'm actually really a fan of how it looks because I actually looked at how the gates function.
Hmm.
This is how this works. So every single day for the next, I think it's 42 days,
Hmm.
we're gonna get a free ticket on login, and these tickets, when spent on the anniversary gates, which will rotate as the event goes along,
Hmm.
uh, will give you an anniversary token that can be redeemed for 2 Brave tickets,
Hmm.
4 DBB tokens,
Hmm.
or you can trade in 18 of those tokens to just directly get a unit
Hmm.
from the pool of the 6 units it's going to cycle between.
What I would
And
suggest for those listening is to get 2 of the featured units, both the Brave tickets and 4 DBB tokens. That's the most sensible thing because it adds up. So it's pretty obvious, but just in case you're wondering, that's probably the way to do it.
yeah,
Hmm.
and
Here
these
it comes.
gates, they actually have a higher rate than the normal gates for these units.
Hmm.
They're at a 6% rate versus the normal 5%.
Hmm.
And now that percent doesn't make a huge difference, but it is
It's there.
an upgrade. And it
Hmm.
also means that you don't have to spend all of these anniversary tickets immediately.
Hmm.
If you want to save them all so that you can completely meme the game by getting like 5 Elenas, which was normally something you can only get one of because it was a Rift reward unit,
Yeah.
you can do that. You can just save all of your tickets
Hmm.
for to get 5 Elenas.
That's true. And also on top of that, it comes with the tokens, and one of the redeemable units from the tokens is also Elena, which means
So
that
you
even
can
if you
get
don't get her from a gate or
another
something like
Elena.
that, go get a second Elena, which is rather interesting to say the least.
No, you
And
can
there's some
just
good
straight up
units in there
summon
as
the
well,
Elena
aside from
now.
Elena.
You can summon how many Elenas you want.
Hmm.
Just summon all of them.
Summon them all. Just 20 fucking Elenas. Just do it. Hurry up and do it. Jeez, what
Or
are you
you
doing
can
sitting here?
save
Go
them for
summon
something more productive, but
them.
whatever floats your boat.
Yeah, as far as we can tell, you can summon multiple Elenas from the gate. So, pretty insane.
We thought they were kidding. We thought they were gonna give us Nia instead.
Yeah,
But no, we instead get all of the Dio mages.
pretty nuts. So, the next thing that kind of comes along with the pre-anniversary stuff is the login campaign, which is going to feature some, normal stuff, summon tickets every once in a while, gems. But what we're really looking at is the unit selector ticket, which is going to function a lot like a unit of choice, but within the game at a gate.
So, from what I understand, and again, I haven't seen the GUI for this, this will probably look similar to what or rather, what Japan got
Hmm.
when they got their quality of life update, where you could spend gems to directly get a unit from a pool of units
Hmm.
and then choose their type. That's probably what this is going to be. Now, granted, we don't know what that pool of units is,
Hmm.
and I'm sorry, but it probably won't include collab units because that's a lot of hoops for them to jump through.
Yeah,
But I would expect
VA
that
units for
most of the
sure.
normal pool will be on there. The uprising units will be on there for sure. Uh, probably some of the Vortex Arena units, and I would guess that quite a few of the seasonal units would be on there as well.
Mm-hmm.
Though I don't think that like Fiora or Cine or
Yeah.
units like that will be there because we just got those.
Mm. I'm
Also, I
really
apologize
hoping
if
a
you're
net is
hearing
in there.
ringing noises from my end, but someone is messaging me repeatedly on my end and is being very inconsiderate. So I apologize.
Sounds about right. I'm really, really hoping that a net is in this unit selector because my god, I've chased her for fucking ages.
You didn't go for Aces?
I did not. I wasn't really playing as much at the time because, short retirement and all that. So, I mean, I could have gone for her, but I was like at the point where I was like burnt out considering retiring and then retired after
Ah,
that. So,
okay.
I
All
do
right.
thoroughly regret it because right now I really am just running between Svalin, Amos, and Yamori, which sucks, but we'll get there. um,
Yes. Yes,
so
we will.
after this is another pretty exciting piece that's coming out, which is the DBB progression system update. So, as announced in the BNC, we're going to be seeing DBB levels 5 and 6, which is going to be a boost to synergy effectiveness and a boost to DBB damage. And while it sounds like the boost to DBB damage would be a general increase to the modifier, according to what I have seen, it doesn't quite work like that. It works a little bit more like a fixed damage increase than anything else. Obviously, buffs will still apply to this and things like that, so it's not just going to be 10,000 more damage per hit. But, it's going to be more fixed than it will be malleable, which is still exciting because DBB damage is always cool. And then on top of that, it says unlocking of level 6 will require the new Grand Golem, which I would assume is going to be an evolution of the evolution of the smaller golems. So,
Yes,
looking
but
forward to
there
that.
is something even more than that.
Mm-hmm.
It will also require whispering shards,
Mm-hmm.
which means that now we are looping back. Everything now requires the Dichroma Bazaar again, but fortunately, Vizier still gives tokens,
Mm-hmm.
so just stock up on all the Whispering Shards now.
Yeah.
Now, granted, there aren't a lot of DBVs, I think, outright now that I would consider getting to level 6. The only one that comes to
Nova.
mind that I would immediately want to get to level 6 is Vanilla and Inoko
Mm-hmm.
for obvious reasons.
Nuts.
And I'm struggling to think of another one that I would want to get to level 6 right this second.
Not right this. I like the idea of having Sarah, Anya, and Q Tong at level 6, but it's obviously, not going to be that impressive. But with the boost to synergy effectiveness, the things that are going to be really affected by this are going to be the strongest synergies, which again comes back to Nova. The ability to purge and negate lock effects is unbelievable. And so having that ability at an increased level from at level 6 is going to be great, and eventually to the point at whenever they release level 10 or whatever it is, in which it will be guaranteed or nearly guaranteed, is relatively exciting. So looking
Oh,
forward
I
to
can
that.
think of another one I'd want to raise to level 6,
Mm-hmm.
though I we don't really have any content for it yet.
Mm-hmm.
Ulagan and Finia, because
Mm-hmm.
Eruption.
Eruption. That would be interesting.
Immunity to buff wipes?
Mm-hmm.
Just no.
It's gonna make a lot of trials very interesting to go back and mess around in.
Let me give you an idea of what this is going to look like.
Mm-hmm.
So now, Earth, which is already a ridiculous element, which UVB spams to keep up evasion, which is
Mm-hmm.
only weakness is that it can be buff wiped.
Uh-huh.
So now they can nuke super hard. They can throw up buff wipe immunity on themselves after they've looped for a few turns,
Mm-hmm.
and then they can continue doing that loop and
Mm-hmm.
outputting ridiculous damage
Yeah.
and enter a perpetual cycle of being absolutely untouchable.
Absolutely. It's going to be unbelievable. Earth was already stacked, and now it's just better. And yeah, Flutterbat in the Twitch chat does make a good point that Sorag's Zace might be useful for those who are still farming Osiris. So, DBB obviously functions a little bit differently against Osiris, having the effect of absolutely cleaving his HP. And so
Because he
I'm
has massive mitigation against everything else.
basically. And so I'm wondering to see how the boost to DBB damage is going to affect that. So we'll see.
I'm in the camp that says that Inoko DBB is still better for that
Yeah.
fight because you can get immune to the lock which
Mhm.
is what Osiris loves to throw at
Mhm.
you, but
But I feel like
I
for
can
newer
see
players,
why
Ksorak
just
Zace is
dealing a
probably
shit
an
ton of
easier one to
damage is
get.
also valuable.
Mhm. So I think
But
that.
yeah,
Mhm.
there's a bunch of quality of life
Mhm.
updates now, which also includes the ability to use DVB and the battle simulator,
Mhm.
which is great. We can finally figure out what this does
Yep. Figure
and
out some more
finally
insight into it.
test these effects.
Very exciting.
And most importantly, it finally allows newer players who are just getting into the concept of DVB, once they unlock a DVB, to go out and kind of test what it does without it costing anything or needing to go through the laborious process of starting up like Gra Trial,
Very
just so you
exciting.
can go in there and try not to kill them before you DVB.
So the next quality of life update that we're seeing is one that I'm actually pretty excited for: the battle energy refund, which is energy used for mission entry will be refunded upon exiting the mission through giving up or being defeated, which is going to make things a lot better for farming stuff like Osiris, or especially for Vizier, which Vizier is easy, but if you make a mistake, you're dead. And so having the ability to get my energy refunded just because I made a silly mistake is going to be really nice for farming things.
I'm mixed on this one. Like, there's definitely a benefit, but
Mhm.
there was a sense of, I don't know, risk
Yeah.
involved with like, because how it stands now is that the only thing that I can see this allowing for people to do is it allows players to gauge their relative strength to something in the vortex
Mhm.
without actually intending to throw a serious attempt at it.
I don't really see how that's a bad thing. Being able to understand where you sit against endgame content.
It isn't.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know how to explain it.
It's going to be interesting and we'll see how it plays out, but I think that this is going to be a big one for new players because just having a 100 energy requirement on something is fine when you're completing it, but knowing that okay, I'm a new player, maybe I don't have the skill that a lot of more experienced players do, but I feel like I'm ready to take on Vizier. It feels less punishing because then I can go in and understand the mechanics, figure things out. It's going to help newer players or even mid-game players advance towards the end game and understanding mechanics, what they're being punished for, and then being able to go back in with that new knowledge and actually attempt it.
If you are a new player attempting Vizier, then
Okay,
most
well,
likely this is what is going to happen. You are going to fight it
mhm,
and you're going to lose.
yeah,
And then, because of this new update, all of your energy will be refunded. And you'll go back in there with your new knowledge and you'll most likely lose again.
yeah.
And then this will repeat itself indefinitely. And because the game keeps refunding you your energy, you will get increasingly frustrated because you know that you have infinite attempts at it, but you're not gaining any ground.
Yeah, I see this as an improvement over what it was previously, which was you throw, let's say 4 attempts at it, you're out of energy, and then you're just like, fuck, I'm out of energy. I just wasted my all of my energy trying this. Now it feels like it's less of a waste. And the other thing is, it's not going to be brand spanking new players with trash units going into Vizier because there are prerequisites for clearing those stages. And while they're considerably easier, the stages before it are going to help lead you up to the difficulty so that if you are level 200 with trash units, you're not just going to be able to go and blow through everything. So I really see this as a very positive, and we can definitely talk about this more. Maybe even in another episode, it would be cool to analyze some of this quality of life stuff. But I see this as an absolute win.
I suppose we'll see what impact this has as it goes forward. I'm not
Hmm.
like trying to be elitist or anything. I'm just trying to see what this would actually do
Hmm.
in the mind of a new player, and that's
Hmm.
difficult for me to gauge.
Yeah.
We'll see. One thing that I do support absolutely is that they're now increasing item stack capacity from 199 per stack to 999 per stack,
Hmm.
which is amazing because do you have any idea how many ashes of Oribus you get from like
Oh my
Dichroma?
god.
Or especially like
Hmm.
the Omni Arcanum crystals.
Hmm. Yeah.
I had like at least 30 stacks of,
Mm.
I think it was The water crystals? No,
Yeah.
not the water crystals. No, it was the light crystal because there wasn't really a reason for me to raise any light units.
Mhm.
So I just had a heavy surplus.
Yeah. So the 999 per stack is going to be a big deal
Yeah.
for item capacity. I'm really excited for that. I feel like that pretty much covers the quality of life update, so we can move on to the next part, which for some may be very exciting, and for most will be, oh my god, another one. So,
For some, it's going to be very exciting because they want a chance at Vesper Argentum,
mhm,
which is one of the 3 spheres in the game that gives 10% overdrive fill added to Brave Burst and Super Brave Burst,
mhm,
which is massive because this stacks with any effects, overdrive fill effects that the unit would already have additively, so you can just
mhm,
stack it up really quickly. That does require you to be in a guild. That does require you to have your guild score well, but
mhm.
it is definitely worth it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It also gives you a shot at Kilozar, but I think I'm okay in saying that Kilozar doesn't matter as much
Yeah.
as the sphere. Speaking of Kilozar, maybe he'd be good to pair with Noel.
Mhm,
That's worth looking into. I'll do that later.
definitely. That pretty much covers that. For those of you who have already completed it, congratulations on your Rift tokens or maybe your Dark Golem. um,
Yes.
Next up after this was covered the Uprising Summon Unit preview that's coming up for Set. And we kind of talked about this already, so you know, we don't need to go super in depth. But I do want to talk about Set in relation to the unit that they announced after it, which is Ma'at. And the way
Oh
that I
god.
believe it was Shaylee who described Set and Ma'at as being almost like the dark and the light, which is interesting because I'm wondering, is that almost a sneak peek at DBB, or is it just more of a sneak peek at what the lore is going to look like? So that was something interesting that was mentioned in the BNC, and we're going to see how Set looks, and I'm on my knees praying that she improves the situation that Dark is in right now.
Can I air my grievances
Mm-hmm.
about how they're handling this lore?
Yeah.
Okay, so for those who aren't aware of Egyptian lore, Ma'at is the embodiment of order. It is not something that you just summon necessarily,
Mm-hmm.
unless you want to have your mind completely destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
Ma'at's opposite is not Set. Ma'at's opposite is a snake demon sealed in the duat called Apophis,
Essentially, just an embodiment of chaos.
which is the embodiment of chaos. That is
Mm-hmm.
her opposite. And apparently, Apophis does exist in this world,
Mm-hmm.
which makes it, because it's what called Set and what summoned the Vizier of Chaos to go
Mm-hmm.
deal with Neferet, which is why the events of Amduat happen.
Mm-hmm.
But for whatever reason, they're just like, I don't know if Apophis just wasn't revealed as a concept yet,
Yeah.
but Apophis should ideally be the final boss.
Mm-hmm.
And judging by how things have panned out, this means that the God King would have had to have been channeling Apophis during this,
Mm-hmm.
which is the only conceivable explanation as to why, because he apparently was channeling a god, and the only god that makes sense if Set is not it is
Mm-hmm.
Apophis,
Yeah, essentially.
which is another thing that you do not do. That's essentially on the same level of don't do this as trying to channel Ma'at. You don't do that.
Yeah. So in Egyptian mythology, there are gods, of course. You know, we talk about Ra, we talk about Osiris, we talk about Thoth. You know, all these different things. And then there are sort of more corporeal embodiments, is the way that I would describe it. And Ma'at is a very good example of that because yes, there are forms in which these things appear, just like there are forms in which the gods appear. But the gods that we talk about in Egyptian mythology, Osiris, Ra, Thoth, Set, you know, stuff like that, these are almost like the descendants of things like Ma'at. And so the way that this is playing out, I find it interesting comparing the fact that Set would be the opposite of Ma'at is essentially entirely incorrect. And I'm fine with taking creative liberties, but it feels like in some ways they take creative liberties and in some ways they choose not to. And it sort of messes with me as someone who's really a large fan of Egyptian mythology. My family being from Egypt, it's something that I look into a lot, and I find this very interesting to see how it will play out.
Yeah, I'm 90% certain that if they're bringing Ma into the mix, then
Hmm.
Apophis has to get involved
Yes.
because Set in pretty much every single incarnation I've seen is not inherently evil per
Hmm.
se. So I don't see why that would change here.
Yeah. It's interesting. So I feel like we can really move on from there. I feel like we've
I'm sorry
effectively
for taking
aired
such
the
a big
grievances.
detour on that.
No, no, I wanted to talk about it as well, so it's perfect. I feel like the next thing is what we're really going to enjoy talking about, which is Vortex
Oh,
Arena Season 4.
nobody really cares about what Oath of Aegis does or what this new this Rabbit's Gusto
Yeah,
does. What
nobody
everyone
really
cares
cares.
about is that the Vortex Arena summon unit is Phil Swift,
Phil fucking
here to
Swift, baby.
show you the power of Flex
See
Tape by
that big
sawing
saw
this
in his
boat in
hand?
half.
He straight up sawed a fucking boat in half on his way to Light Vortex Arena, taped it back together with flex tape, and just rode across the water to get there. Unbelievable. So
He
I'm
has
looking
no
forward to
idea
that.
how he did it. He took this boat out in shark-infested waters.
Pretty nuts. Uh,
You don't even know how he's alive
yeah, I have no idea how he's alive right now. Genuinely, I don't know if
because
he'll
he's
be
part
alive
rabbit.
in time for Light VA if he continues these absurd Phil Swift like shenanigans.
Yes, but seriously though, everyone's really looking forward to I mean Peter, uh, because if he follows the trend of the rest of the Vortex Arena Season 4 units up to this point,
Mhm,
will be competition for Chizuru,
mhm.
depending for purely damage. I'm
Yeah.
not sure what his kit's gonna be like.
Mhm.
If his kit is busted enough, then he will beat Chizuru.
He'll
But
he'll beat my here's my prediction. He'll beat Chizuru in AoE damage because like the others, he'll have a double HP skilled AoE, but when it comes to single target, I think Chizuru will still beat him out. But we'll see.
yeah, well, I mean, does Light have a dedicated single target?
Yeah, it's Chizuru.
No, I mean, like, is it Chizuru's not one AOE and then two single targets?
No, I think it's two AoEs, one of which is HP scaled and then an HP scaled single target.
I'm asking if there's a triple attacker for Light that has an AOE and two single targets, which is what I define as a
Mhm.
pure single target. Like I would define Thoth
Yeah.
as a pure single target because it's
Mhm.
AOE and then two single targets.
Yeah. Let
I don't
me
know if Light has that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, Chizuru certainly fits, but
Mhm.
I don't
Yeah, I'm not
know.
sure.
In any case, Phil Swift is going to be incredible. I'm going to continue calling it Phil Swift. In
Please
fact, when
do.
we do our summon video, which we are definitely going to do because we cannot not make a summon video when it's so easy to just spam flex tape memes throughout the
Precisely.
entire thing.
Most of our videos
Uh,
are relatively unedited because I feel like they look and sound better that way, getting the raw, uncut Faf and Recoome shenanigans. But this summon video is gonna be atrocious. There's gonna be a lot of Phil Swift yelling loud. So look forward to that. It's gonna be fun.
every single time that Peter is summoned on either of our screens, we're going to Photoshop Phil Swift's face
I
over him.
sawed this gate in half.
And then it's going to play the sound clip.
Precisely. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, it's going to be great.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. So on top of Peter, or I guess after Peter, now that we've covered that, we don't know what the sphere is going to look like. I mean, there's could be a lot of things, but the next thing that I feel like we should cover, though it's not super in depth, is Brave Halloween, which is coming the 23rd of October,
Yes.
which seems to be bringing some interesting looking units to the mix. I really like the look of the Halloween summon unit, Lydia.
Lydia is an Earth unit, it looks like.
Very beautifully drawn unit. It looks really good.
I, yeah, she's definitely beautifully drawn. Something about her. I think it's the hat that's throwing me off.
Mhm.
something about her proportions and her Omni art seem off to me.
Her hat almost reminds me of Elena's for some reason.
It is almost beat for beat Elena's. It's
Yeah.
a green hat with
Hmm.
a big brim and a red underbelly.
Pretty
I don't know
interesting.
why I called it the underbelly of a hat, but it's
It works.
nearly beat for beat that hat, and
Yeah.
that is, for whatever reason, it's throwing me off. I think it's the combination of her huge eyes and then that hat.
Hmm.
Like in her regular art, it's fine because she isn't wearing a hat, and therefore her hair is allowed to, you know,
Hmm.
show. And then like the only thing covering it is her admittedly very beautiful fan, which I
Hmm.
am very much a fan of the fan.
Yeah. And so, obviously, we don't know what they're going to look like or what they're going to do kit wise, but looks cool. The other thing to cover is the Halloween reward unit, which I assume, be the free unit, which is Yin Yin, who looks pretty adorable and almost looks like she has a summon ticket attached to her hat.
Why does why is her name Yin Yin if she has the yin and yang symbol on her hat? Shouldn't it just be two yins?
Yeah, yeah, that would make more
Shouldn't the
sense.
entire thing just be like, isn't yin the dark one? So isn't it just like dots of white and a black
Yeah,
symbol?
I don't really
I
know.
don't know why I'm getting hung up over
I
this.
don't know.
It
I'm
just
really getting hung up on like the tag that's hanging off her hat because it's eerily reminiscent of a summon ticket, but who knows?
she also might be dead.
Yeah, she's looking pretty dead. So,
I think she might be dead and then possessed.
mhm.
But I'm okay with that. She's free, and she will most likely make free to play light even more ridiculous, along with what Tillith is about to bring to the table, and then what
Mhm.
Mavis brought to the table before that.
Yep.
Oh my god, anyone running free to play light must be like rejoicing because this
Mhm.
is exactly what they wanted.
Absolutely. And so the last piece of Halloween content that we're seeing is the alt arts, and one of them is very clearly Beatrix, which I don't really know what you would do with a Beatrix alt art because
Oh
Beatrix's
no,
regular art is already
no,
pretty
no,
good.
no.
But
That one on the left,
mhm,
that's not Beatrix.
who is it?
That's Estia.
Oh yeah, I can tell from the little symbol under her and her staff. You're right. Fuck, that looked like
Yep.
Beatrix.
I
That threw
think
me
the
off.
one on the left might be Xenon.
That would be actually
Sorry, the
really
one on the
cool.
right might be Xenon, not the one on
Yeah.
the left.
I think an
I was
Estia
about to
and
say,
Xenon Halloween alt art would be really cool. And it makes sense
I
because they
think
both have
what
those symbols underneath them in their regular Omnis. So,
I think what they're trying to do here is they're trying to give these units arts that
mhm,
are reminiscent of their cursed forms,
mhm.
but obviously not too much with Estia because her cursed form is a little bit um, gigantic.
Yeah, so
But
let's see how that
maybe
looks.
Xenon won't get like his mask back,
Mhm,
but he'll look perhaps more similar to it.
yeah. I mean, I don't know. I feel like Xenon Estia alt arts would be pretty damn cool. So we'll see. We'll see how that turns out. Other than that, I think that covers everything in the BNC. But there is one thing that I do want to talk about that there's not a slide for or anything, but Rizky did mention is that there will be an insignia reset in October.
Oh boy.
And so this can mean
So do
one
you
of
think
two
we're gonna get
things.
anything
Hmm?
with that insignia reset, or do you think it's just gonna be a reset?
I
I'm hoping that they add something.
It's been a while since we got a new insignia unit. I'm really feeling like they're going to add an insignia unit as well as resetting the rest of the bazaar. If there's not an
How
insignia unit,
expensive do you think
hmm,
any new insignia unit is going to be?
it'll have to be four or
Because
five
of
hundred.
the exalted
Yeah,
bazaar, we've been able to get insignias by the bucket full.
yeah. I have a ton of I have well over 500. Even during the times that I wasn't even doing dichroma, I still have well over 500. And so
Hang on,
we're
let me check.
mhm,
I'll show you. I will check how many I have right now.
nice,
Gumi, I got an error when attempting to do that for some reason.
nice.
Brave Insignia, I have 704
Yeah.
insignias.
And so
So
we're definitely going to have to see a significant increase in cost because I don't know, they're just shitting out insignias. So there's gonna have to be some increase in cost or something new in there that's worth getting with insignias. Because otherwise we're just gonna keep stockpiling insignias, and that's a bit much. So
Yeah, I would say that 500 tokens would probably be a good price for it
mm-hmm.
because of how common insignias are now.
Yeah,
And I think that we've had the Insignia Bazaar reset. Sorry, the Exalted Bazaar reset like 4 times.
4 times.
So that
Yeah.
means we would have gotten 600 tokens that way for the end game players.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a pretty. I don't want to say it's a reasonable goal to set, but it's
Yeah.
something that's certainly achievable
Mm-hmm.
and still retains the difficulty. Though they could just make it 200 and then we all just
Yeah.
buy it instantly and we still hoard them over
Yeah.
for every single reset.
I get the feeling that there's one of two ways they could go. They could release a high cost insignia unit, or they could give real purpose to using Brave Insignias, because right now it's just hoard them until the next unit comes out and get the summon tickets when it refreshes. What I would like to see is something, I don't know, some kind of new content related to this that would be worthwhile for using insignias on. I don't really know what
Can
that would
you
look like, some
give
kind of
an
sphere,
example?
Elgif, I don't know, but something like that.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, we can get the level 2 uh
Shit.
Brave
Yeah.
series from there,
Yeah,
which
you
are a
can.
thing.
They're great, for nuking, but again, I really feel like there's more to be done with the insignia shops that I don't just feel like I'm sitting on 600 of them. And
Yeah,
CC makes a good point in the Twitch chat. Fallen buff when?
I want Svalin Arumat DVB. Like,
Hmm.
what? Why has that not happened
If
yet?
we get a Fallen buff and a Fallen Aromat DBB, just shut up and take my money, Gumi. Okay, I just
We already have them though.
yeah,
What money
true.
would there be to spend?
Very good point. I feel like more people would spend for insignias, I guess, but then again, Dichroma Bazaar makes that relatively irrelevant.
They would
Um,
spend to get the units, to use the units in Dichroma, to get
basically,
tokens, to purchase other tokens to use
basically.
to get Aromat and Svalin. That
TLDR,
is a
give us a
long
fucking
chain of
Svalin buff.
consciousness.
Please, I want Svalin to be as useful as Aromat is.
Yes, well, I don't know if it'll ever be that useful, but
Yeah,
we can
we can dream,
dream.
okay? We can dream. um, Other than that, I think that just about covers the BNC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the only thing that remains is we need to see what the vortex is like.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that the easy mode is, I don't know what level I'd want it to be at. Do you
Mm-hmm.
think All Might level would be reasonable
For
for
what?
the regular fight?
I'm sorry, for what?
For the regular fight against Lion Dude,
Yeah,
the
I'd
one
say
where you
All
get
Might level would
Tillith
be
from.
reasonable.
And then hard mode can be something on the level of what we're seeing in Amduat.
Yeah, I would accept that, absolutely. I would accept an Osiris difficulty fight for the hard mode.
Yeah, because we need to do the hard mode fight 6 times, but at
Yeah.
least it's a guaranteed drop.
Mm-hmm. Please don't remind me that I still have to farm so much Osiris. But
At
other than that,
least Vizier is guaranteed to drop his shit.
true. Yeah, Vizier is nice. I think that just about covers everything in the BNC and a couple of extra shenanigans as expected of a Two Fools video. So I feel like we can sign off here. Faf, any closing comments?
I have none.
Really? Not even a fucking chicken for me?
I, the fucking chicken that Steve Harvey stuffed in my freezer broke free last night.
Damn it.
Some
That's so
people
upsetting.
raided my house and set it free. I don't know where it went.
I can't imagine. That must be so hard. I'm here for you. So other than that, that just about wraps it up, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I am going to do my little outro bit now where I tell you to go down into the description, click on all the links down there. Just click them, look at it. We got our Patreon down there. our Twitch down there and some helpful links for both new and experienced players. So check out the description, do all that stuff, like the video. Make sure to subscribe because for those of you who have seen the announcement video, we are 3 subscribers away from doing a 100 subscriber special, which is super exciting. Once again, thank you so much for watching, guys, and I will catch you next time.